conversation continues on Ontario's supply of rapid antigen tests. There's an online petition and a hashtag with concerned healthcare workers and parents alleging Ontario's tests are underutilized. The Ontario government advises they've received more than 33 million rapid tests from the feds and have also deployed virtually all of them to test healthcare workers, residents and staff in congregate care settings, unvaccinated teachers and employees of essential businesses.
But outside of those settings, it is difficult for a member of the general public to just quickly access free asymptomatic COVID-19 testing of any kind, really rapid or otherwise. Now with Toronto's Associate Medical Officer of Health noting today that children in the city are the largest infection group, there's a renewed push for rapid tests to be offered for free to the general public. Joining us to talk about this are Dr. Dalia Hasan, founder of the Twitter account at C19 Test Finders, and Kyro, Maseh, a Toronto pharmacist. Thank you so much, both of you, for joining us. Dr. Hasan, to start, the provincial government says, look, and this is data as well on the federal website, there are some 33 million plus tests. They have deployed about 31 million. About 9 million have been used. These go to healthcare settings, congregate settings, businesses. So the position of the provincial government is that these tests are accounted for in some way. How would they be better utilized? And what do you say to, let's say, a business who says, well, I have them, but I at some point will need them for my staff?
Well, I strongly believe that every Canadian needs access to rapid tests, irrespective of if they own a business or not. This is a public health crisis that we're in, and these rapid tests help to save lives and will help us curb the transmission of COVID. So the sooner we can get these rapid tests into the hands of every Canadian, the sooner we can get back to our pre-pandemic lives.
And Dr. Hasan, I want to point out that I have asked a spokesperson for the Ministry of Health for a breakdown of how many of these tests have gone to, say, a long-term care home versus a healthcare facility versus a business. They have not provided me with that breakdown. One of my colleagues has also reached out over a period of time requesting the same clarification and has not received a reply. Is that the concern here, that there could be tests sitting in boxes somewhere?
That's absolutely the concern. The government has not been accountable for the more than 20 million unused rapid tests, which information is accessible on the federal government website. It's available for the public to see that there's 23 million unused rapid tests currently in Ontario. There's speculations that they're just sitting in warehouses, and the warehouses aren't the ones that need to be protected, it's the people.
I want to note there's a hashtag going around, hashtag free the rats, sort of trending on Twitter. Rats as in rapid antigen tests. Kyro, I'll come to you next. People have to pay for these rapid tests out of pocket. Some of them cost about $40. That isn't cheap. And not everybody can afford that, right? What are you seeing?
So not everyone, you're absolutely right. Not everyone can afford $40 for a rapid test. And certainly I know of very few that can afford it every 2 to 3 days, which is the recommended way to use them so that you can catch someone when they're actually shedding enough antigens to be caught. It's quite problematic. People wish to use these. I'm seeing a lot of people in the general public wishing to use these to be a bit more diligent, a bit more careful in their dealings, and they just cannot. Very few people can afford this price line.
Christina was talking about the numbers. I want to bring those numbers back into this conversation. Kyro, we'll stay with you for a moment. We're hearing from the province, the Premier doing a little bit of defending today, saying that his government has distributed around 33 million of these rapid antigen tests provided by the federal government. That is true, but data from the federal government also reveals only about 9.4 million of these tests have actually been used. Kyro, what does that tell you?
So, just a few things to note. The federal government only approved these tests about 4 months ago, so that in of itself is a failure. These tests have been around for over a year and a half. Secondly, regarding the, I don't know, was it 20 million tests sitting they distributed 33 million tests is what you mentioned. I can't remember the exact figure.
Yep, 33
doesn't
million.
really matter because the average citizen is not able to access these in a timely fashion. And if the average citizen is not able to access it, then they're useless. There is no point in having them altogether.
Okay, on that note, Kyro, a list of where some of these rapid tests have been allocated: home care, businesses, long-term care, hospitals, not like the mother and her child that came to your pharmacy seeking a test that cost $40, and that child ended up COVID positive. If you can share with us that story.
So it was a mother of a child, and she just asked me, I need to know quickly if this child is positive or not. So I said, the quickest way is a rapid test, but it's out of pocket. She said, fine, I'll pay $40. She paid $40. I went outside to her vehicle. I swabbed her child, went back inside, and then I did the rest of the extraction and the dropper technique, etc. Positive, informed the mother, and then we did a PCR for confirmation. Now, imagine if that child was feeling slightly better tomorrow and decided to go back to school. Imagine if his parents decided to still continue to go to work, even though they have a positive case in their home. There's just so much questions that are going through my head. It is not fair for us to depend on a parent to pay to protect society. That is not fair.
And there's a question of equity as well, right? The parent has to come and has to pay for that rapid test. Dr. Hasan, I want to ask you about this hashtag, this free the rats, rats meaning rapid antigen tests. Who should free them? I mean, if the Ontario government is saying, we have given them out to a variety of, well, not only businesses, but let's say long-term care homes, healthcare settings, who is it incumbent on to free them? Is it the government saying, if you have currently unused tests, can you hand them back to us? Or should some of these, let's say, businesses or other settings be offering them up?
It's absolutely the responsibility of the provincial government. They administer healthcare for the residents in the province, and so it's up to them to protect their citizens.
But is it fair for them to say we need them back? I mean, if a business is saying, well, we have people who frequently come take part in our rapid testing program, it varies day by day, let's say.
Why is it a question of taking tests back or not? Everybody should be able to have access to these rapid tests. We live in Canada. We're so privileged to have access to every single public health tool needed to curb the transmission of COVID, and we're not utilizing them. We should be leaders in the distribution of all public health tools and have access to all of them, including fitted masks, proper ventilation, vaccinations, and of course, rapid tests. These are all layers of protection that are critical to be able to save lives, many lives.
Yeah, and I think it's important to note that other countries have been handing out these tests, kind of like candy. Dr. Hasan, if we can stay with you for a moment. The provincial government has sent these rapid tests with Ontario children to take with them during the holiday break. We're talking about students here. The worry, I think, is what happens after the holidays when we run out of these tests. Do you worry about that as well? Is sending these tests with these kids for the holidays enough?
What I have to say about that is sending the test kits with the public school kids is a start. It's not enough whatsoever. It's only for public school kids. Those who are learning online are not privy to these rapid tests, which are very important these days because families are getting together for the holidays, and there's a very huge risk of transmission, especially with the Omicron variant looming over us. We need to be exercising every single public health tool at our disposal, and we're barely accessing the bare minimum.
Yes, sorry, Dr. Hasan, go ahead.
Yeah, so beyond the 5 rapid test grab bag that the provincial government has given public school students, we need to be able to distribute them beyond the holidays because COVID still exists beyond Christmas.
Kyro, a final question for you as a pharmacist who people come to and you have to charge them for these tests, like the story you shared with us. I want to point out the 11 million tests going home to kids for the Christmas break, as Lena noted, those are additional. The Ontario government had to purchase those. Do you think stories like yours and these online campaigns will encourage or maybe push the Ontario government to essentially free the rats?
I surely hope that they do. And if I would like to add one more thing that was not mentioned, these tests cost well under $1. sense actually to manufacture and purchase in bulk. So I really don't think that asking to retrieve tests is an issue, or 11 million tests are an issue for the government to purchase, or even 30 million to purchase. This is literally chump change in comparison to how much we're losing when we get a higher positivity rate or when businesses or schools shut down. So I just would like to ask any decision maker responsible to please do the right thing, free the rapid antigen tests for all Ontarians.
Kyro, thank you for your time. Dr. Hasan, thank you for the time and the work you both do in the community. We appreciate it we will continue this conversation in the next few weeks. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.